Hi there everyone, it's Cassie. Welcome back to my YouTube channel for another video. I hope you are ready for the weekend. I am. All right, so let's jump into what we're making today. We're going to be using the brand new stuff from Spellbinders. This is the Thanks and Closed Sentiments. I'm showing you how they look and then how it looks all die cut out. I love doing this with my die cuts so I know exactly what I'm getting. Sometimes when you look at things, you're kind of like, oh, I need a moment to process, but this is why I like to do that. Then we also have our 4-petal bloom reflection die set, and this is gorgeous all put together also. I'm sure there's a lot of great examples out there. We're going to combine the two of these sets along with our 4-petal floral 3D embossing folder. Now these 3D embossing folders are amazing. They do require a special 3D embossing folder plate to go along with them. And so I highly recommend before you get one of these plates or one of these folders that you make sure that you have a plate as well. So I've got a piece of 5x7 turquoise embossing, or not embossing, cardstock. And I'm going to run that through my die cutting machine with the proper plates and check that out. Doesn't that look gorgeous? It's all that texture and detail is incredible. So I'm going to bring in some Remember Me ink from Hurley Create, just lightly rubbing, and I mean lightly, and look at all the texture that it is picking up. It's going to dry back a little bit, but I love how that looks on there. And then we're just going to kind of set that off to the side while we start piecing together our die cut. So this is the 4-petal bloom reflection. It's beautiful. I cut out 2 of them using the green. One would be sufficient, I'm sure, but I wanted to do 2 of them. And I'm going to piece everything together using some of this Barely Art liquid glue. And I'll use my fingers and sometimes use my reverse tweezers where needed. We're eventually going to speed this up 4 times what you see, because right now this is double speed. But we're going to go ahead and do this 4 times because, you know, it's just kind of piecing it together. I find piecing die cuts together to be very therapeutic. It's just, I can listen to one of my books on tape or music or whatever I decide to do and just piece these things together. And then I have these beautiful die cuts that you can put on a card, and I feel refreshed after it's done. So I love all the pieces that are in there. And I think that this color palette that I've chosen is kind of more of a boho color palette. Really goes well together, especially once I put it on with that turquoise background. You're going to be like, that looks pretty cool. That color combo. And when you're struggling with color combos, I always go to Pinterest, and which seems to be a lot that I'm struggling with color combos. You can find some of the best color palettes on there. All right, so now we're moving on to some of these flowers. That's more of a burgundy cardstock that I've chosen. And just piecing that on there with my pickup stick that I have. I love the pickup stick because on the one side it has the wax tip, and then on the other side it has the little poker tool that sometimes you need to get like the holes of things poked out. And then we're going to do our little embellishment pieces, you know, those last little pieces that really just take it over the edge. These are the little tips to the flowers, or the, you know, like where the flower meets the stem. And each of those has one. And then for the insides of the flowers, the little burgundy flowers, I decided to stick with that hunter green for the centers. You could do obviously something else, but I really liked that. And as you notice, I do have another one up there, so I'm going to go ahead and piece that together as well, but this is what that's going to look like. And now we're going to bring in the Thanks and Closed Sentiments along with the, so we've got some of that Hunter cardstock again. I'm going to use the shadow dies on that. This is going to be a birthday card. I always seem to need plenty of birthday cards. So I'm going to use that poker tool to poke out the intricate pieces. And then we'll use our reverse tweezers to hold that while we put some of that Barely Art glue, just kind of making dots of it on the back of our word. And one of the things I do like about this die set is that for the word like birthday, it has an I in it, but the I, the tittle to the I, is a part of it. So I don't need to be concerned about losing it, because let's be honest, maybe it's just me, probably is just me, but I lose those all the time. And so this makes it so I don't have to be concerned with that, especially when you're talking about such an intricate die. And those reverse tweezers are so super handy when you're talking about dies like this as it is. So we'll just place that down on top, give it a few seconds to dry, and then we can start thinking about the placement of how this card's going to go together. All right, so remember I did use a 3D embossing folder, so there's going to be a ton of texture on that background. You could use some foam squares or something like that to attach down these two pieces, just put those in the prominent areas. I decided I was going to just use some liquid glue because this is a fairly strong liquid glue. But if you're going to use a liquid glue or, anything like that, you definitely want to make sure that you put something on top of this so that it does stick down to that background, because it does have a decent amount of texture. You may not be able to tell from the video, but it does, and I think that's why I love these 3D embossing folders so much. All right, so I'm just going to stick a stamp block on top of that just to hold it in place while that glue dries, and then we'll do the same thing with this bottom piece. Just line that up down below, and then once again put that stamp block on top of it. And then we're going to use some of these foam strips. Now these foam strips are from Trinity Stamps. They are great. They just came out with them not that long ago. I love these because they're small, like for these smaller sentiments, they're perfect. So yeah, that's what I put on the back of that. My base is some more of that cardstock that I measured 10 inches by 7 inches, scored at 5 inches. So this is a 5 by 7. And then we're going to use that liquid glue again to attach down our panel to our base. Again, tons of texture. You can even see it from the back. So then I will place that down on top. You get a few seconds of wiggle room when you're using liquid glue. And then this is what I was talking about as far as placement. I actually really like the happy on top of the birthday, but I really wanted to make sure that all those flowers showed. So I'm going to peel off that release paper and we're going to put the happy and the birthday side by side. But I do think I like it better one on top of the other. All right, so there goes our birthday, and then we'll put our happy next to it. Now, as far as embellishing, I don't know that it's necessary, but I mean, think of some really, like those clear gems would look beautiful on here. I'm going to leave this as is because there's so much going on. I love it. I'm so happy with how this card turned out. I'm going to have everything linked down below. If you like this video, be sure to hit that like button. Consider subscribing if you haven't already done so. And as always, I will see you very soon in another video. Bye, everybody.